This is Don't Get Me Started. This is a conversation about advertising. And here is your host, freelance creative director and creative circus department head, Dan Balser.
Yes, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. First of all, I want to take off my proverbial hat to thank you and give you kudos for listening to this episode, because you saw before we started this that this is Diego Pernia, who is not a creative director, not a copywriter. He's a director. I'd say he's a creator, a director, and a photographer. And I have this. I got to say, I'm disappointed in a very deep way that some students choose based on the speaker's title not to come to a forum. And if everybody in the school were there today, the room would have been full. There would have been 200 people there. But I think some young art directors and copywriters think, oh, it's a director. Let me tell you something, listeners. You never know where you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something from someone that you don't expect to learn something from. The people that you expect to learn something from are going to tell you the shit you already know. They're going to confirm your beliefs, but they're not going to introduce new thoughts. And if you don't come to listen to people speak, or you have not chosen to listen to this, you've denied yourself an opportunity to broaden the way you approach your craft, your self-expression, and your understanding of art and expression itself. So kudos to you for tuning in if you're not a photographer based just on Diego's title. But Diego, I didn't know anything about this man until today, and I was blown away. Frankly, I don't want to sit here and kiss his butt while he's sitting here, because it's kind of awkward. We're only sitting about a foot apart. His wife's in the room. But he's had a long career of creating beautiful visual art and expressions. He's a commercial photographer and director for a long time. He did great work for Mexico tourism, and most recently, which he didn't mention, Cirque du Soleil. And he has a beautiful style of mixing organic with machine, with just sort of a natural expression of depth. I'm going to say this because I'm a writer. I'm not an artist, and I'm not trained in art, but there's something below and beneath and beyond the surface of the work that makes you want to rewatch it and consume it and understand it. And I think part of that, and it's apparent that it's inspired by beautiful classic artists in history and the study of light and all these kind of things. And I'm hoping we're going to get to those in this conversation. But first off, man, welcome to the school. Welcome to the little microphone. It's really great to meet you.
Thank you so much. It's great to meet you. Thank you for having me here.
And so how do you think the day has been, and what's been in your overall initial impression of this experience so far?
Oh, the day was like full of surprises. The day started just taking individual students with me and just talking about their own personal work. And I found that at the very beginning of the conversation, they came with ideas of how are they going to like this, or they're going to like, other things that are very related with the, let's say, the normal average commercial expected world that everybody expects from them, right, to develop. So at the very beginning, everyone showed me commercial photos of a bottle or of a shoe or something like this, just trying to get them into the business. But what I said to them is like, look, the most interesting things are the last things you show me just very quick. Yeah. Like, this is my personal thing. So that is the thing that really attracts me, because the other, I saw it so many times, and people in industry, all the agencies and clients saw that from the very best, like doing shoes, right, and the best photographer in shoes in the world, that they're not going to call you because of that. They're going to call you if you express your own voice. And to find your own voice is something so easy to say, but so difficult to find. Yeah. And normally I recommend them to look in your own story and all the things that you are trying to avoid all the time, like your family or your struggles with your family, and then you are trying to escape from that. But when you go deep on it, you will find a voice that probably you will want to express something related with it.
You ignore it. You write it. You try to. You don't look straight at that, but straight at that is you're the only person who has that story.
Nobody else.
So, in the intro, I awkwardly described what you do. how do you reconcile or define what you do and who you are right now at this point in your career? How do you introduce yourself? What would your business card say if you created it yourself?
I will always say that I'm a director, basically. I'm a film director. I direct music videos, commercials, high-end commercials, they call it. And I take photos. But basically, I'm a director. Right now, I'm directing live shows as well. As soon as I start.
Zac Brown.
Zac Brown, I started doing that in my life because I'm starting working in theater. When I was 17, I had my first work in theater as an assistant, working as an assistant or a scenery. And
whatever needs to be done.
Whatever needs to be done for 2 years working on that. And then I just, made my path working with lights and everything. So
wait, hold on. When you were doing that, were you paying attention to the decisions that were being made?
Yeah.
You were watching and saying, okay, this is why this is this way, and those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
This is your education in a way.
Yeah, in a way, it was my education. I was, and I'm still pretty ignorant about many, many things. So I was watching with my eyes until I have a moment in life where I work with a very famous artist in Spain, and she was so demanding. But at the level of this, I was in a theater working in the console, doing sound and coordinating all the technical aspects of this show. I was like the tour manager technical part. And she was in the middle of a standing ovation. At the end of the show, she was standing there like a diva, and everybody is like, the whole theater in Madrid, in a beautiful theater, applauding this. And as soon as the curtain goes down, she went running to the intercom, and she got the intercom and said, Diego, yeah, what happened? The light number 48, it was out of place. What happened?
Yeah, this reminds me of Michael Jackson was like this. Taylor Swift, I've heard, is like this.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's because this is the complete symphony is their art. That's crazy.
That's exactly what happened. So that day, in a way, everything changed.
And Bruce Springsteen too, I think, is like this.
Yeah. When they go to record, they record just one shot to the snare 1,000 times probably, just to get the right sound of everything.
It's called the boss for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It's very famous in the musical business, like what he does. So that day, that lesson, it was more important than all the college and everything else. And he said, I have to be really good on this, because if I am not so good, so I have to prepare myself in a different way. And from that day, I always being like, I like study. It's natural in me. I like to see it and read. And I do it every day, and even Saturdays and Sundays is my life. But from that day, I was very, very, very into that. And it is what it is right now. I'm totally a detailed craftsman, like trying to craft everything in the high detail I can. I'm very demanding as well right now as a director, but not with that kind of diva style. I'm a very calm when I do things, but at the same time, I'm very demanding. I never stop to ask for things.
This is going to sound like a stupid, fundamental question. It's a very stupid question.
No.
But I want the listeners to hear the answer to this question.
Yeah.
So you said earlier that you watched something like 200 movies a year.
Yeah.
That you read constantly. Your wife, tell me your name again. Etza. So Etza says that you were saying you Saturdays and Sundays you want to read and study. She's nodding over there and smiling. So you're not full of shit. What is this? What does it do for you? Like what's the point of all of the input for you? Like what do you get out of it, and how do you internalize or process all that information coming into your head?
There is 3 things that really like what happened with that process. Number 1 is just the pleasure to know. I love to know the history of where am I right now. For example, if I'm here in the United States, I will love to know the whole story. What happens here from the Jamestown in 1607 to the Mayflower 1620, the Pilgrims. I really like to know everything. So,
do you ever stop and read those Civil War plaques on the side of the road?
Yeah, we went to exactly, in Boston and Washington, and we saw the whole story coming to America.
Okay, so number 1, you just want to have the information. You just love to know.
I just love to know, and it's just a personal pleasure. I'm not gonna share that probably, with anybody. I share it with my wife when we talk on dinner and everything. We talk about stories and history of different places that I've been, and I had the possibility to travel a lot around the world, just shooting and working and commercials, basically. And then another thing that I really love when I read is like it's giving me the tools to be more eloquent and to explain to myself what is happening in my mind or in my soul at that moment if I want to achieve a piece that I'm shooting at that moment. So there is one information that probably will help me to be more articulate in the way that I'm going to shoot.
It gives you an intellectual vocabulary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's coming all from that. And we have, in Argentina, we have like this incredible bless, because Argentina has so many problems that I'm not going to start with that, but it's a country with so many problems. But we had probably one of the best writers in history, at least in top 5 writers in history, which is Jorge Luis Borges. Who is Jorge Luis Borges? And Borges is like, one day I was talking with Guillermo Arriaga. Guillermo Arriaga is a very famous writer in Mexico. He wrote several movies, 21 Grams, Babel, with Alejandro González Iñárritu, which is 2 times Oscar winner for Birdman and The Revenant. Wow. And we were talking that one day he said to me, look, he's an amazing writer and always an inspiration for me. And besides that, he's my friend, he's always an inspiration. And he said, look, you are so lucky because you have Jorge Luis Borges behind you. Like he's covering your back. When you have a problem to explain something, you go to your roots with the best writer in the world, who is Argentinian, and who is going to explain the problem you have with his words. And he has Rulfo, which is another amazing writer in Mexico. And we all have all these writers that in a moment I feel that are friends. I mean, they are my friends. I have them in my room in piles of books like this, but here all around, and I'm reading them, and I feel that I know them because I know what they write.
I think it's really interesting because right now I'm going through this moment with a particular student whom I will not name, who is very well read. He loves to read. He's a student of the industry like you've never seen. It's a very difficult thing, I think, for people to translate that to their own craft. How do you integrate the greats? How do you integrate the experience of other artists or other writers and then somehow leverage that or use that to find your own voice? I think that's a difficult thing for people learning their craft. I mean, it's probably hard for you to remember what it was like starting as a young person, what it felt like in those moments when you weren't comfortable with who you were.
Yeah.
But now it feels to me like you're telling me that it's something that you can use like fuel, like it's almost like wood in the fire.
Absolutely.
But it isn't like that early on, though, is it? I mean,
no. At the very beginning was more difficult because I think you don't have the capacity to understand what happened beneath. You know, you take everything literally, and when you take everything literally, you don't have life lived. You don't have somebody that broke your heart. Oh God, you don't have, you don't have somebody that died in your arms.
Right. You were showing those 2 pieces, and I kind of wish I could remember the artist. Who was the artist that showed the children with the man and the woman?
Alfred Leopold Egg.
Right.
Yeah.
So the third image was the third image was the woman sitting under a bridge, and there's the moon in the distance. There was also a flicker of a little lone light of hope over her. Yeah. That sort of was like something that maybe it was a religious thing, maybe it was God.
Probably.
That had dimmed in her life.
Yeah, it's so great that you notice, because as you see, nobody noticed the details. Right. And that's why I was asking them, hey, you are photographers. You really need to watch all these elements.
It was lit. It was still there, but it was not casting enough warmth and light onto her to mean anything. And only someone who's been around for 4 or 5 decades can understand the pain and in a way to express it with those metaphors. Anyway, I think it's just fascinating. I think that I also heard you say something that was really smart after Forum to someone who said that they're struggling. What did you say to her when she said she's questioning her ability? Do you remember this conversation? Yeah. What did you say to her?
I said to her that she's going to fall for sure.
Yeah, she's
going to fall. I mean, you fall every week, I think. And then you have to get up and keep going because this never stops. It's like you are falling into insecurity, into like the business where it's telling you what you have to do, and then you feel insecure all the time, and you have your own voice, and you said to yourself, especially this student that it said, I don't know if people is going to be interested in what I have to say, and look, just say it. Mm-hmm. And then you see if somebody is interesting or not. Mm-hmm. Because normally that things are used, and I do it myself as well, many times. Like, people, who knows? I mean, you just have to do a thing, and you have to overcome everything every week or every month, and keep going and try to do your work. Right. And just do it. Just work.
I've said this on this podcast many times. Do not have any expectations that anything's going to be good, because if you don't worry about that, then you're going to be better. You're going to make things. If you're not worried about whether they're going to be good, if you're worried about whether they're going to be good, you're constantly blocking yourself off. There's frankly, you're creating those walls yourself if you do
Absolutely. That. And it happens, very, very clearly when you work with actors. If an actor in that moment, in the middle of a scene, is asking you, is this good? That actor is really bad. Because that actor in that moment has to be that character.
They have to know they have to be that character.
That character. So
this is the character.
And this is
it's not whether you're going to decide if it's good. This is it.
And it's the same for you.
Right.
I mean, at that moment,
great
you are a character, and you have to do what you have to do. If you said, is that going to be good? You're out.
I think that's exactly right. But I think this is what people suffer from constantly. I mean, this is what young creatives that I mentor, I say teach, I don't teach anything, I mentor them. They're constantly worried about that validation, and I think it's
validation. Yeah,
it just takes time. So I have a couple of lighter questions.
Yep.
You've been around. What's your favorite place in the world so far?
Favorite place in the world. I have different favorite things.
Excellent.
Okay, so favorite city, I will say Tokyo, Japan.
Why?
Because it has a mix. I knew Tokyo before going to Tokyo because I read Yukio Mishima, which is one of my favorite writers also, and Kensaburo Oe, another incredible Japanese writer. And both of them give me a sense of Japan for so many years. And in a moment, I thought that I knew Japan. And then when I went to Japan, in a way, I knew Japan through these incredible writers. And then I discovered this new Japan in front of me, but I discovered three things that I really made a confirmation of me, of the beautiful sense of honor they have, the beautiful sense of community they have. They work everybody for one thing. The individuality is not there so much. And then another thing is like this mix of spirituality, in a very logic way, if that could happen. I mean, I don't know if that could happen, but it happened in Japan. It's like they have this spiritual understanding of everyday life, but they are not religious fanatics or talking about some things that are inexplicable for us, and we are trying to explain it. They don't explain that, but they live it. They have a word called wabi-sabi. So one day, a driver that took me in Kyoto. We were in Kyoto. So he saw that I was so enthusiastic about all these fantastic temples that I was reading about, especially, the Golden Temple. There's a book wrote by Yukio Mishima about the Golden Temple, and he has a crazy story about it. And then he said to me, I can see that you are very interested in temples, but these temples are very for tourists. Can I take you to a place that probably you will appreciate very much? And I said, well, of course, take me there.
Yeah.
1 hour driving from that place, he took me to a very high in the mountain to a temple was totally empty. So in the driving, normally happen with these drivers that are working for so long. In Russia, happened the same to me. The drivers has so many interesting things to say to you.
So cool.
So many times. So this driver was, the epitome of respectful. The way he talked to me, the way he told the story, and the way he related with his own Japanese story. So in a moment he said, okay, there is an expression of art here in Japan called wabi-sabi. And I said, what is wabi-sabi? He said, when the configuration not expected of elements of nature converge in a moment in such a way that makes you feel that you are connected with something that you don't understand.
Yeah,
you know,
really
like
fucking cool.
Yeah, and there is a sound of, you know, a drop coming from the snow, and then you are just watching that, and there is a reflection on the floor from the sun, and the sun is very low, and you have a wind and the smell of the flowers. That's wabi-sabi.
Mm-hmm.
So wow, this is amazing. Wow. So I will try to watch wabi-sabi. He said, yeah, you would try to. So we were walking all over this temple. The temple was amazing, and I really, really feel overwhelmed inside there. And he explained to me that the temples are not squares. The temples are boats. So you have a boat that is crossing the ocean, and they made like these gardens of white.
So it's like a bow that faces the water?
Exactly.
Okay.
So because they made this water in white stone, like these gardens of white stone.
Wow.
That made the ocean.
That's so cool.
And the ocean is your mind.
Right.
So the temple really help you to cross your mind to get the nirvana. So that's the meaning of a temple.
So this is
in Japan.
Buddhist?
This is Buddhist, yeah. Mixed with Shinto, which is the original religion they have in Japan, and they always said we born Shinto and we grow Buddhist. They change in the middle always, but they have like this philosophy. So in a moment, everything was overwhelmed. Very, very grateful with this man that he's teaching me this incredible lesson, and then I was walking, and just behind all this beautiful temple that in front is the most beautiful thing that you can ever imagine, like
Stone?
the way. Stone, trees, and the trees were taken care of by Buddhists for 600 years. So all the trees are like, you cannot even imagine how beautiful is all this, the configuration, all that. And I said, this is wabi-sabi. And he said, no. Okay, it's not wabi-sabi. So then I asked another incredible thing, and I asked him, is this wabi-sabi? No, this is not wabi-sabi. Okay. So I said, okay, one day I'm going to see wabi-sabi. And then I get just in the back part of this temple, and it was a small passage, and that small passage was with the snow coming down, and just was I stopped there, and I just watching that, and I feel something. And then this driver came in a most silent and respectful way, and came to very close to my ear, but the right distance, not to bother me. And he said, "Wabi-sabi," and then I understood that moment was something that I never gonna do. I just gonna to witnessing, you know.
Yes.
You're never gonna do it. It's like
you're put there as it's occurring.
Exactly.
You're there to experience something bigger than you.
Exactly. And you are going to experience, they give you that gift to you, and then you have to go and never going to repeat that again. And it's such a beautiful thing.
It's like a wave of the universe that you just happen to intersect with in a moment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. I'm going to steal that from you. That's amazing. Yeah. So I'm going to So when you ask me how all that converge in what you are right now as a director, I see all these kind of things, and I have a lot of stories like this in different countries in Russia.
What language are you speaking with the driver?
English.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a very well prepared, driver, and he speak like very basic English, but enough to communicate together. And then in Russia also, they always normally when I work in some places like that, normally the driver speak English, to communicate with me.
That is just incredible. Okay, I hate to shift gears because I love these conversations.
Oh, let's go.
Do you have new maybe we'll see where this one goes.
New topic.
So the new topic is collaboration. So for a long time you were doing commercial direction, and now as sort of part of Southern Reel, which is part of Southern Ground, the collaboration is a little bit more immediate and all that kind of stuff. So, but in your experience professionally, what makes for a good collaboration? And the reason I'm asking is that everyone who listens to this is at some point they're going to collaborate with a director, or they are a photographer that's going to collaborate with art directors or writers. What makes that work the best? How does it work the best when you're part of a team? Does the question make sense?
The question makes sense, yeah. I'm thinking about all the elements that we have to put inside a collaboration group to make it happen, to make it work.
For your craft, what's the expectation that's going to make that successful for the people around you? What do you want from an art director, for example, or a designer?
I want authenticity. I want people that is honest and it's not gonna bullshit to me and not gonna make me lose my time because I have to do so many things at a time. So basically, that's what I want. Creativity, of course, a great sense of art and a great sense of humanity, respect. I like people. I like group of people that is very respectful one with another.
But you can disagree, right? I could disagree with you.
I disagree a lot.
Right.
I disagree a lot, but respectfully. Respectfully, yeah. We can disagree a lot. I love disagreement. I really push for a disagreement.
It pushes the process. It pushes the product.
I don't like people that said yes to me all the time. Right. See, I like people that say no. Why? And so if he has a good reason, boom, that's your idea.
Do you think people are intimidated by you?
Sometimes it is. Yeah.
Do you try to?
I'm trying to going down all that. To
just
put it
be
down.
Aware of it.
I'm super aware of that. So it's sometimes I trust. I just go down and just talk about the process and let's see what happens in a conversation. It's like when your relationship. I mean, when you have a problem, you have to talk about it. If you don't talk about that grows inside of you, and one day explode in the most incredible.
Well, people aren't so quick to. Not everybody wants to talk about. I mean, I
know.
Not everybody's comfortable and.
Talking about
and they're scared and it's going to be blamed, so they go home and it simmers. And I try really hard, and it's gotten me in trouble because I'm just going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes that gets you in trouble too.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever.
Because it depends of so many things. It depends of the tone, depends of your emotion behind those words. It's so difficult because sometimes you are getting so many things inside of you, and then you explode. And you're out because at the moment
nobody can hear you.
Nobody can hear you. Yeah. And in a collaboration group, it happened exactly the same. If somebody explodes or somebody goes, it's never going to be respected again. Because
it's not about the work at that point; it's about the people, and that's where it's degraded.
Yeah. Absolutely, and people separate that and try to be, no, I'm so professional. No, it's not. It's everything going on there.
Right.
It's a human experience before being a work experience.
Right.
So you have to work with other people. And you have to try to make an understanding. And there is so many people involved, and so many interests involved, and so much money involved. So many things that you have to take care. I think that as I always said, being a director is being a psychologist. Okay. I mean, you really need to be there and listen to everybody. I listen. I'm a listener. So that is a good thing that I have. I had so many bad things in my personality, but that thing is good. So I know how to listen people and listen and really listen to them. I mean, what is your problem now? This is my problem. Okay, I take it. Let's try to figure out how we're going to work on that.
One of the most important traits, one of the most important skills a person can have is being able to listen, to really, really hear somebody.
You have to be able to listen. And you know why that happens to me? Because as I said in the conference, when I was young, I was poor. And nobody listened to me because you disappeared. So nobody pay attention what you have to say because you are nobody. So who is going to listen?
Right.
And from that moment, I listened everybody. I mean, the last person doing electrician or said probably has something to say because he has so much experience. Normally, the electrician has 40 years in the in the medium working. So I'm always pay attention to them because they are
really smart.
They are just watching the light, not saying anything because they don't want to say it. So I say, what are you looking at? No, probably, sir, that light is not correct. Okay, move it. So, and all the time they are watching things that you learn from them, so you have to
That gives you a great perspective because you were the electrician in a way in your life, right? So at that point where you're a really, really valuable perspective to be I hate to say the bottom, but on the edges.
It's not. I mean, for me, as I said also in the conference, it was probably my best asset, to be in that position, to be in the lowest point of my work and I understand the whole chain until you are a director. So you understand everyone's interest and what happens to them in certain moment of high pressure that I would love the students to feel that super high pressure that you have in a moment. If a $3 million commercial, the pressure is super high, the people is pushing, is so absurd because you're just selling a fucking car.
Exactly.
I mean, but it's happening at the same time.
It's real pressure. It's created, but it's real. Do you like it? Do you like the pressure? Do you function better, higher?
I function really well under pressure, but lately what is happening. The last 3 years, something is changing on me, and I'm really, really picky with the work I'm doing, and I'm just gonna put.
Which projects you're gonna take?
Yeah. With the project I'm gonna do. I just don't want to go out and being with people that is stupid, or they don't have any sensitivity with the surroundings or with another human being. And I just don't like it right now.
Well, can I redefine stupid for that for a second?
Yeah.
And I think stupid is somebody who's doing the job because that's the job, rather than doing the job as an opportunity to make something.
Yeah.
So they're doing it because here's the project. Let's just get it done, and you're making problems where they don't need to be, rather than actually caring about what you're going to end up with and being proud of it.
And I regret to say that the word stupid is very arrogant of me. So
No, it's not. No.
But I would say this. It
was not arrogant of you. It's just a lazy piece of language. It means a lot of different things.
Absolutely. Let's put it this way. The people I just call stupid is people that is really not aware of the other human beings in the process of creativity. Like they are not paying attention to others' ideas, or they are arrogant in a way to communicate something, or they are bringing a very lazy project when the project has to be, developed in many different ways with treatments. I brought a lot of examples of treatments to show to the students to show them how extent is something that you have to present to a client, and how detailed it is. We made really, really detailed treatments. So basically the people that don't pay attention to others and are arrogant and they don't know the whole process, and they are trying to work in a place that doesn't belong to them. Yeah.
A lot of those people have never done the work to find out who they really are too.
Yeah.
They're not honest with what their true north is. They're not doing what they should be doing.
Probably.
Most of them.
Yeah.
I hate to say that.
No, probably. Yeah.
That looks
probably,
like a...
Probably you're very right.
All right. So you mentioned also in the forum, you mentioned a project that was just sort of, you just got a green light, go make something, right? No real direction. How do you do with sort of the open-ended projects like that? How are you personally with those kind of things? Is that good, or is that not so great? Do you like some rails a little bit?
Depends. It depends. I mean, we have some boundaries. I always imagine myself just playing in different fields. Like right now I'm playing tennis, so I have these rules. And I cannot play the rules of football here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just playing tennis. So I had to play with the rules. I have a musician that really wants to change his style, like, in the case of the rules and everything. So I try to find one theme to align everything behind that theme. And
that's the first step for your process?
Yeah. And I really need to find the theme in everything. What are we talking about? We are talking about love. I'm trying to do it in one word. That's the first thing I'm going to do. It's the most difficult part of the project for me. So one word describing what I'm doing right now. I'm talking about love. I'm talking about revenge. So as soon as I found that word, so I aligned the whole project behind that. So I have a north just to go behind that. So I will know what books I have to read, what painters I have to...
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you're a student also of philosophy?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
I love it. I love philosophy.
Philosophy and psychology. So and you feel like, I think this is something that maybe I projected when you were talking. Maybe it came out of my own thought. But I think what you were saying to this room of young 20-something creatives is that it's up to them at this point to define thought, right? They can define thought, the concept of thought itself, however they want to. They can redefine the way perception happens. Is this right? I mean, this is, I think, what you were encouraging them to do, right?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do that with the youngest people. Like, define who you are, trying to find yourself inside all these kind of disciplines.
Because love and success interactions are defined by people from the past, from other psychologists and psychiatrists, but that's not the only way to understand the world, right?
No.
Right? Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
I interrupted you while you were...
No, absolutely. But you're very clever the way you put it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you most excited about right now at Southern Real?
Southern Real, what I'm more excited about, to design this show that I have to do next year for Zac Brown Band. So we are going to do, Zac is changing constantly. So next year, he's doing a new record he's working right now with a new manager, Scooter Brown. And Scooter Brown is a very famous manager, and he made Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, all the pop world. And right now he's working with us, and it's an interesting combination of the pop world with the pure country music world. And Zac wants to change not only with Sir Roosevelt, but also with Zac Brown Band. And he wants to do another style of songs, more rock songs, and he wants to go to stadiums and play in a different way. Cool. So we are designing a new stage and projections and everything with a lot of people, a lot of very talented people, a lot of companies right now. Like probably we are going to work with Lightborn or with Possible. Those are top-notch designers, stage designers. They design every stage. Name it the artist, and they work with them. I just don't like to drop names. I hate that.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, yeah,
it's fine.
I hate when somebody comes into a room and says to me, "Yeah, because Bobby," and they are talking about Robert De Niro, and I say, "Oh my God, this is terrible." Yeah.
My rule on my podcast is I always drop names when it's positive, and I'll do it all day long. I don't give a shit. But Bobby, no.
No, Bobby is terrible. I heard this. Not very long ago.
I just got a text from Bobby. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Bobby said that to me. Who's Bobby? Robert De Niro. Oh shit. No. Anyway. But in this world, all that time is happening. So I'm very enthusiastic about that. I always love to work with this group of people that came here today to visit me and to support. And they are my friends.
It's so cool they came today. That's so cool.
It's so cool, man. It's like I feel so loved for them, and this with this act of love they made just to, not be working and being here with me just to support, just to be there, just to. It was amazing. I was overwhelmed by love for them, and we work together every day, and we have to struggle so many things of lack of things we have right now in this company, because it's in a way it's a small company that is trying to be big,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I get desperate because I came from this super big industries that I have whatever I want, when I have to shoot, and then here I have to struggle with so many limitations. But it's compensated by this incredible amount of love that we have. It's all created by Zac, I have to tell. I mean, Zac is really the light that everyone is follow, because he's honest, is sincere, and he is following something meaningful at the camp at the very end, and what he's saying in the music and how he feels right now as an artist. And for me to share that moment of his life with him is also very inspiring in a way.
Yeah, it's a privilege.
Yeah, it's a privilege, and he is coming with this story. So all these stories ignite my imagination to do something on stage.
That's so cool.
Just because he told me that, and I take those 3-4 words and put it on the stage.
Do you guys have conversations about his aspirations, about the growth of what Southern Ground is going to be, and do you have those conversations with him? Have you ever talked about where it's going?
All the time.
Does he have an aspiration for size and big growth, or is it?
I mean, we want to. At the film aspect, we really want to do our own movies and TV series, talking about the things we like. I mean, this philosophy I'm sharing with you, do movies about this, you know?
Oh, yeah, cool.
And try to talk about the things we really like, not caring so much about being successful in a way that we have to do millions. We had to do some millions to do another movie.
Right.
But the thing is, just to use in the best way we can the time we have on Earth, like it's so limited and it goes away. We just lost very dear friends not long ago, and we are just trying to do we have to do something more meaningful, like just to go and feel better about what we are doing. So yeah, those are the aspiration in the film part and the design part as well. We are right now giving a lot of service to another client. We have like 4 different clients. We are doing a campaign with Enterprise, like all this part with Cirque du Soleil was part of a campaign with Enterprise. So right now Enterprise is our client as well, and we are working like in commercials again. So when I came to work with Zac, I just came to work with a musician and do music and forget about it a little bit, the commercial side. Right now, I'm the commercial side again.
You have to fund it somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Southern Ground is a collective of talents, of craftsmen. And we are doing customs for trucks and motorbikes. And we have knives, the best knives, believe me, the best knife on earth are doing there because...
So these are brands under the same roof.
Yeah. We have Shelly Brown, which is Zac's wife. She has her own jewelry line. Very talented, beautiful things she does. Another very special human being, Shelly. Very strong woman. You know, it's not going to be Zac's wife just because, you know, like you have to be very strong, and her own personality. So many people that we work with.
It's really cool.
Inside there is very interesting people.
Well, I feel like talking to you feels like I'm on the top of a little bit of water, and there's a very deep well. You and I could continue to talk about philosophy, art, psychology, and
we can go
culture
on forever.
There's just the love that they share is understandable because there's a thoughtfulness and an enthusiasm from you that attracts people to collaborate. So it's just a wonderful meeting you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. It was wonderful to meeting you. Thank you so much for having me here. You're very kind.
Thank you. What's the best way for people to find your stuff online if you want to mention it?
I have my Instagram, which is Diego Film.
Diego Film?
Diego Film. And then you can go on Vimeo with my name.
I'll put a link on the... your name on Vimeo. Easy enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And I will also put links on the Facebook page for the podcast, which has kind of become the homepage for the podcast because the homepage for the podcast just has pictures and the show, but DGMS Podcast on Facebook has everything. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Listeners, we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, see you. Bye. That's how it goes.
You're an expert.